All right, welcome. ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Friday, the 2nd of December. Good to have you aboard. Got a great show planned for everybody today. Good to have you with us. However you're listening, on iTunes, on Spotify, Amazon, Google, iHeart. Maybe you're watching on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@ZASLOW Show. However you're listening to us, I love you long time. We are here. We made it through the week. It is finally time for the weekend. We do the show here, and then we get down to brass tacks because we have a huge sports weekend. That's what I'm talking about. I am fired up. We got games of consequence this weekend. A lot happening. Dolphins, United States, Miami Heat, Florida Panthers. You got the college football championship games. There is a hell of a lot going on, and I couldn't be more excited to get you all ready for it. I thank everyone for helping us wrap up the 5th week of ZASLOW Show 2.0. Our title sponsor, of course, Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. Mark Anidjar, Glenn Levine, Ellie Anidjar. They've been here for me since day number 1. They are title sponsor of ZASLOW Show 2.0. I wouldn't be able to do this without them. If you're dealing with any kind of personal injury, you've been involved in any kind of accident, I send you to Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys because I trust them. 800-747-FREE. So, we had a terrible Thursday night football game last night. You thought it was going to be a good game. You thought it was going to be an interesting game because it had juice to it. If you're a Dolphin fan going into that game, and we already did this ZASLOW Show 2.0 poll a couple weeks ago when the Jets were, can't get it right, when the Patriots are playing the Bills. Who are we rooting for? And overwhelmingly it was, you got to root for the Patriots. But here's the thing. I don't think it's as cut and dry as you would say, oh, you're trying to win the division. You need Buffalo to lose. If the Patriots lost that game, or if they lost last night, you're kind of crossing them off of the playoff list. They're now 6-6. They're 2 games back in the loss column of the final playoff spot. It's not as if the Dolphins are a lock to win the division. First and foremost, you want to make the playoffs. So I don't think it's so cut and dry that, oh, you have to root for Buffalo to lose. New England losing is pretty important as well because they're done now. Their season's over, all right? So that's one more team you can cross off the list that's not going to be competing for one of those playoff spots. And as a result, of Buffalo winning last night, they are now technically second place in the AFC. They are now technically first in the AFC East. The Dolphins, if they keep winning, look, they control their own destiny as far as the AFC East is concerned. But here's the thing, and we'll take a look at, the playoff teams in the AFC and what they have coming up this weekend. But if the Dolphins win this weekend in San Francisco and Kansas City loses, Dolphins are first place in the AFC. First place overall in the AFC. Monster weekend. We have a ton of important action that is taking place over the weekend, beginning tonight, of course, with WWE SmackDown. Make sure you're listening to It's Still Real to Me every Saturday. Myself and Joey Levin, he's my partner, under the ZASLOW Show 2.0 umbrella. It's our pro wrestling podcast. It's Still Real to Me drops every Saturday. Only one episode this weekend. When there's a big pay-per-view like last weekend, Survivor Series War Games, then we do 2 because we do a reaction show as well. Otherwise, regular episode of It's Still Real to Me. It'll drop tomorrow, late morning, early afternoon. We'll recap the entire week of pro wrestling. You know what I'm talking about. Tell your mother I say hello. All right, so Thursday night football last night, if you managed to stay up for this mess. I only watched, I watched the first half straight through, and then I was like, I'm back and forth, ZASLOW Mansion Family Room Small TV for Thursday Night Football, because Big TV starting at 10 p.m. was occupied by the Florida Panthers, of course. But Thursday Night Football last night, that was a pathetic effort from the Patriots. Even if you hate the Patriots like I do, you had to have been watching the second half of that game saying to yourself, are Patriots trying? Is this a Bill Belichick team that has quit on this game? Is this team trying? You had to have been thinking that when you were watching the second half of that game last night. I do not know that was a team trying. If it's not bad enough that you're subjected to Mac Jones for 3 hours last night, You have to watch Mac Jones play quarterback. You know who's going to play quarterback poorly? You have to watch Mac Jones play quarterback poorly, and then a team looks like they quit in the second half of the game. That game was a vomit last night. So the Patriots wind up losing. The Bills are now 9-3, so the Dolphins need to keep pace. Josh Allen, 22 at 33, 223, 2 touchdowns. Finally had a game with no interceptions. Mac Jones, 22 for 36, 195 yards and a touchdown. You know how bad it is to have 36 pass attempts and you can't even get 200 yards? He sucks. So you were subjected to 3 hours of Mac Jones. And on top of it, if you're a Patriot fan and you got this Matt Patricia calling plays, which you knew was going to be a disaster from the get-go. It feels like a little bit of Belichick, smartest guy in the room. No, Matt Patricia, no experience calling plays, defensive guy. It's okay. He'll do fine. Well, he hasn't done fine. Team sucks. They're 6-6. And let's be honest here. And say what you want about the New York Jets. I don't think that team's any good. All right? Really good defense. But I don't think that team's any good. The New England Patriots, thank God. If you're a Patriots fan, thank God they have the Jets. They're 2-0 against the Jets. They have 4 wins against the rest of the league. They're 4-6 otherwise. 2-0 against the Jets. They own the Jets. 4-6 otherwise. Patriots stink. I got news for you. That is not a good team. And I got more news for you, actually. This is a breaking news show today. I got more news for you. Mac Jones is not the quarterback of the Patriots next year. He's not. I can absolutely see a scenario, especially because of the off-the-field stuff, especially because of the personal stuff. I can totally see a scenario where Tom Brady's quarterback of the Patriots next year. I can see it. Go away for a few years, been away 3 years. Like Dwayne Wade, he was away for a year and a half. You come back, you sort everything out. I can totally see that scenario. Mac Jones is not... I know it's only been 2 years, okay, but he's a nothing. He's a blob. Mac Jones is not the quarterback of the Patriots next year. And I could see Tom Brady going back. I can see that scenario. And there seems to be some momentum building in that regard that they would trade Mac Jones. What the hell are you going to get for Mac Jones? 5th round pick? 6th round pick? Yeah, I didn't get very much for him. He stinks. And that Patriot team sucks too. So they are donezo. Playoffs, done. Out of the picture. That Thursday night football game last night was a vomit. Another vomit. Now, I'm not going to complain, they shouldn't play on Thursday nights. No, I like when they play on Thursday nights. You know that. Otherwise, Bills, Patriots, it's hidden on Sunday afternoon. I wouldn't be watching it anyway. So, put it on Thursday night. If I want to watch it, I could watch it. Even if it sucks, all right, it's there. I don't have to watch it if I don't want to. The Panthers, we'll get to them in a little bit. The Panthers win last night 5-1. Paul Maurice yesterday, he said after the morning skate he had a good feeling about the team. They look like a team today that's going to wind up coming out. And it's going to have a big effort. And he was right. They had a big effort. They were very good last night. Matter of fact, let me give you a little bit. I'll give you a little bit of the Panthers right here. Okay, the Panthers yesterday. It's late in the first period. It's 0-0. They're playing fine. They're getting some up. They're getting good opportunities actually. And then you had an outburst. I'll give you the highlights here, where the Panthers scored 3 goals in the span of 59 seconds.
With 11 shots to their credit, but that really doesn't tell the story. His chances.
Turnover here. Chance in front of this time. Kachuk scores. And the Panthers light the living. Putting it out in front. Loose puck. Losterinen couldn't get to it. Forsling fakes. Now shoots and scores. Gustav Forsling and the Panthers get a couple of quick ones late in the first. Stahl back for Hornquist. He's got a chance. Demko the save. Stahl to follow. And then another save, and then Lombard scores. The Lamborghini. And the Panthers make it 3-0. And Thatcher Demko is
That's
down.
right. How about your favorite little hockey team right there? All right, so if you stayed up to the little late night with the Cats, I mean, it was a miracle. I don't remember detecting any technical issues last night with Bally Sports Florida, other than the usual where the audio is about a second ahead of the video, so Goldie is calling the goals before he actually... It's not his fault. Where he's calling the goals where you actually... before you see it, or he's calling the saves before you actually see it. They can't manage to figure that out. But you didn't have the other usual technical difficulty where you just lose sound in the middle of the game. That channel sucks. I'm sorry. There's no way around it. They cannot get their act together. But the Panthers, they win 5-1 last night, so you stayed up for late night with the Cats. there you go. You're feeling good about that. If you woke up this morning, you turn over, you open up the Twitter or you open up the NHL app and you want to see if the Panthers won, you hope you get your Friday off to the right start. There you go. That ended up working out. Now, the Dolphins. Let's do now. Oh, I got to tell you what we got coming up on the show today, though. Okay, so we got a fun show today. Huge day tomorrow morning. United States men's national soccer team. US, Netherlands. If we were doing big game, not a big game right now, we're doing it later on in the show. If we were doing it right now, I'm not going to give you a spoiler, but I think you know the direction we were going. Mike Ryan from the Dan Lebitard Show will make his debut on ZASLOW Show 2.0 coming up. Mike Ryan, he hosts Morally Abhorrent. That's their soccer show that they do. He knows soccer better than anyone. We're going to get him on ZASLOW Show 2.0 today. We got some questions leading up to US and Netherlands tomorrow. I know what I know about soccer. I also know what I don't know about soccer. So we got to get an expert. And Mike Ryan's an expert. We're going to pepper him with questions about the U.S. national team. We got to talk about Captain America, or like they're calling him, Captain Americock, Christian Pulisic. Is he going to be available tomorrow? I'm very excited for U.S. and Netherlands. Mike Ryan is going to join us coming up on the show. Later on in the show today, Jamie Eisenberg, CBS Sports Fantasy Football. He used to join us every Thursday on ZASLOW Show. This is ZASLOW Show 2.0. Jamie Eisenberg, CBS Sports Fantasy Football expert. He joins us every Friday on the show. So he's going to join us coming up, and we'll do some fantasy football. We'll get to the bottom of stuff with him. The Dolphins this weekend. We are 2 sleeps away from what is the biggest Dolphin game of the season since week number 3. The last time the Dolphins played a big game, it was week 3 against Buffalo. Both teams were 2-0. Dolphins took that ass. Bills couldn't handle it. Now, last night, if you were watching Thursday Night Football, if you were watching deep into the second half and the Patriots weren't trying anymore, Bills kicked their ass, okay? If you were watching, now there's a little bit of controversy here. Did Stefon Diggs on the sideline, was he caught by the cameras saying, I want the effing Dolphins? Did he do that? Well, there's a little bit of controversy out there as to whether or not that's what he said. Now, I'm practically a lip-reading expert, and I can see, all right, I saw the tweet that was sent out by our pal Big E, huge Dolphins fan. He knows what's up. And Big E, at Ian693 on Twitter, if you want to hit him up, great Dolphins fan. He's got the video. I'm looking at it right now. It's Stefon Diggs talking to his teammates. He's got the skull cap on. He's got the jacket. The Bills are so cold. And Stefon Diggs says, I want the effing Dolphins. I'm a lip-reading expert. I don't know if you knew that about me. He says, I want the effing Dolphins. Well, there's a little bit of controversy there, I guess, all right? Because he appears to be claiming that that's not what he said. Stefon Diggs himself, and it's his verified account, he responded to Big E and said, I know this is probably what you wanted me to say, but let's not lie. Okay, thanks. Hey, listen, Stefon Diggs, you can say that you said one thing. The camera's on your face. Clear as day. I'm a lip-reading expert. And you are saying, I want the effing Dolphins. All right? That's what it says. All right. It's coming. It's coming. We're a couple weeks away. But first things first, right? So this weekend, the Dolphins in San Francisco, and I already told you this, it's the biggest game the Dolphins have played since week 3 against Buffalo. Because you look at all the games in between, those weren't big games. Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Houston, they're not big games. If we were doing big game, not a big game, I gave you 5 not big games right there. It's not a big game. Dolphins did what they were supposed to do, took care of business, took that ass in some of those games. But those were not big games. This one this weekend is a big game. That's a spoiler, I know. Don't skip over big game, not a big game coming up. Don't skip over it. It's still going to be really good. I gave you a spoiler, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. But this is one of those games where you could really shut people up. You know, I saw on ESPN, I think it was yesterday, 2 days ago, Bart Scott, former New York Jets linebacker. Bart Scott He's arguing with Alan Hahn. It's to New York, guys. New York show. Those guys, by the way, if you saw, there's some changes in the ESPN radio lineup, and we'll get to that coming up. Those guys are actually getting off the national. They're moving back to local ESPN New York 98.7. Bart Scott is arguing against who the Dolphins have played so far this year. And hey, that's fine. Look, you can only play who's on your schedule. And if you want to look at like the good wins for the Dolphins, the good wins you're talking about, Bills and Ravens. Those are the two marquee wins for the Dolphins. These next three coming up. Niners, Chargers, Bills. You could add three more marquee wins to that short little list I just gave you. I don't have so much of a problem with... Look, Bart Scott was saying a lot of things anti-Dolphins. But I don't have so much of a problem with Bart Scott making the argument that the Dolphins don't have any real signature wins. Look who they played. It's two teams, one of them which they're competing for the AFC East with in Buffalo. Beat them. I mean, the Bills are cramping. I got cramps. The sun. That's why this stretch is so important for the Dolphins coming up here. Because the opportunity for the opinionists, all right, to get back on that anti-Tua bandwagon, that's here. Tua needs to play well this weekend because the opinionists are going to pounce on him. They are waiting for this opportunity again. They'll be able to say, hey, it's one thing to put up these big numbers against those turd burger teams that you beat in this 5-game winning streak. It's another scenario to do it on the road against teams like the Niners, against teams like the Chargers, against teams like the Bills. This is the biggest Dolphin game in 10 weeks, and it's a monster. And I love it. So, those guys out there like Bart Scott, Mina Kimes, whoever else, they are waiting for the Dolphins and for Tua to fall flat on their face this Sunday night. Go out there. Leave no doubt. That's right. Everybody remember the Titans? Herman, leave no doubt. You know, that was when the referees were cheating, because you got the black team and the white team. Herman, leave no doubt. I love that. See, what a great movie. Remember the Titans. What a great movie. Not the best sports movie. Everybody knows Miracle is the best sports movie. But remember the Titans? What a movie. All right, so here's what we got this weekend as far as the playoff teams in the AFC. So, Buffalo winning last night. They jumped to second in the AFC right now. So the Dolphins technically have dropped to fifth, but, they could rectify that on their own this weekend. Kansas City at 9-2. They are at Cincinnati. Already told you, if Kansas City loses and Dolphins win, Dolphins are first place in the AFC. How you look at? Kansas City at 9-2. They are at Cincinnati. They could lose that game, so we're rooting for the Bengals there, right? All right. Buffalo's 9-3. They won last night. Tennessee, 7-4. They're at Philadelphia. They could totally lose that game. So we're Eagles fans this weekend. Baltimore, leading that AFC North. They're 7-4. They have Denver. Oh, Denver. Yeah, you're terrible. So Baltimore is fourth. Then you got Miami at 8-3 at San Fran. Everybody knows that. Cincinnati at 7-4. They got Kansas City at home. So it's kind of similar. It's kind of a similar situation to New England and Buffalo last night, where you want Buffalo to lose because you're trying to win the division, but if New England loses, that's a team you can cross off the list behind you as far as just making the playoffs. It's kind of a similar situation with Cincinnati and KC. If KC loses, you could be first place overall in the AFC. If Cincinnati loses, okay, better chance for you to make the postseason overall if you don't win the division. So, root for whoever you want. I'm rooting for Cincinnati to beat Kansas City. So Cincinnati's 7-4, they have Kansas City. And then you have the stupid Jets, also at 7-4. They are at Minnesota. All right, so you could have some moving and shaking here in the AFC playoff picture because you got some teams with some tough matchups this weekend. So those are the games to keep an eye on.